Hello. Lexi is in the video. Those of you listening will not get lovely Lexi here. So, we are at Bono Stuff, and as much as it's about me talking about stuff I do know, it's also about knowing that I don't know a lot of stuff and bringing on experts who know a lot of stuff, like my wife, who is an expert in relationships, and Lexi's an expert in licking my face, so maybe she'll calm down. Are you gonna calm down? Are you gonna calm down? Okay.
You calm down.
I'm gonna calm down. All right, so Bo knows what he doesn't know about relationships, and I'm here with my wife.
Hi, baby. I love you.
And we're gonna talk about something that we've bonded over, and again, as a physical therapist myself, and her being a sex and relationship therapist, we bonded over a lot of the patients that we see that come to us, and clients that come to us, and Lexi's finally given up, that come to us, and a lot of times we say, we wish you would have come to us 5 years earlier, or at least that's what we're thinking.
Yeah, we don't say that.
We don't say
I
that.
don't say that.
I don't. Sometimes I say that, and I think it's a lesson learned of a driving force in prevention. And again, we tend to wait too long until something happens. So I guess, again, my driving theory here is the concept of drift, the word drift, where little things add up, frustrations accumulate, resentment builds in relationships. Same thing for the human body, injuries. We get little aches and pains, and we tend to ignore it. We have little episodes. We block the pain. We keep moving about our day. We take a Tylenol or what have you to block the pain, but we keep going. And then in the grand scheme of things, we're still able to function. We're still able to be in a relationship or move and do whatever physically we need to do. But those things down the line lead to worse results. So let's focus on the relationship side and let Maha jump in.
Well, I wanted to say that I get that there are reasons why people, including us, do that and wait because, well, first of all, it takes a while to realize that there's something quote unquote wrong, right? A lot of times we go through phases of like denial, or oh, it's just a temporary thing, or it's a phase, or we can fix it ourselves, you know, that kind of mentality, which is totally understandable. And sometimes, yeah, we learn how to overcome it ourselves, and that's totally fine. So that's part of the process. And then what ends up also happening is there's the discomfort of addressing certain things, right? I mean, it is uncomfortable or scary. I'm just talking about the emotional stuff here, at least. Like with the physical stuff, it might be the discomfort of the time commitment, of the money spent, of the work that needs to be done to heal. And same thing for like the, you know, the relationship stuff or emotional stuff. You know, it's not only these factors that come into play, but also the just discomfort of confronting issues. So that's another reason why people put it off. And also, you know, it's human nature to wait, I guess, until the level of discomfort or dysfunction is high enough that we need to seek help.
Yeah. And I would say also, that was great. Bravo. Clap it up. I totally agree. And I would add to that, something being, there's also sometimes a lack of belief that if it's a small thing, going to a specialist like
that it requires that kind of like, you know, professional help.
Right. Again, and I'll talk a little from our personal, if you don't mind. We can delete this if you don't want to talk about this. But in our own relationship, we had some stuff brewing up as we had life changes and going to therapy ourselves, which I always say, as a therapist, like I want to work with someone who's helping me with my body. I might have all the information and ability to help someone else with their body, but I also feel like I need that coach to help me out with mine. And then I think she agrees. Yes?
Yeah, we can't do everything ourselves. Like it's hard to see things in our own lives as well from an objective, or not just objective perspective, but also like just a different perspective.
Yeah, and the thing I want to bring up in our experience was, you know, as we talked about going to a therapist just for this kind of minor issue, this was around the time COVID started, so money became an issue, and as well, it was a question of, or my kind of thought process of like, do we really need a therapist to help us work through this problem where like, I feel like we could just talk about it and we'll get to the bottom of it and we'll fix this. And yes, it's not always possible. And yeah, there is some of that, like, are we going to get, like, you know, you take your car to the mechanic, you're pretty sure you pay whatever, $1,000 to get your transmission fixed. Like you have to put some faith in the fact that that transmission is now fixed and that car is drivable. If you go to a therapist or of the head kind or of the body kind, it's not always guaranteed that you're going to walk out of there with all your issues resolved.
Of course not. It's
right.
not guaranteed.
It's far from guaranteed.
Walk out there with your issues resolved because that's not what we do.
Right, and again, these are complicated issues, and but the point again I want to get back to is the longer you avoid addressing these things, more likely, just like your car, the analogy to the transmission, the more difficult and the more costly it's going to get down the line. The more damage
there's going to be.
Yeah, basically. Yeah, exactly. So you're driving and you're building much worse, much deeper resentments, which is why, to the physical side, I'll say, and I don't know if you have I've never seen a number like this. We haven't necessarily talked about this, but on the physical side, again, we say for the dentist did a great job, and they said you should get your teeth checked twice a year by a dentist. Boom, you have a number. It's simple. I haven't been to the dentist in a little while. My teeth feel pretty good. I try to pay attention to my dental care, but it's still a great marketing concept. I say that same thing for physical therapy. Again, as a profession, I don't think the physical therapy profession has done a good job of saying you need to get an annual checkup. I've seen it kind of floated around, but there's no real drive to say, hey, physical therapists are the best at assessing you head to toe on your muscles. You want to be hiking all the time. You want to play golf. Whatever it is, you should get a checkup just like you do with your car every 6,000 miles or whatever it is. So I don't know if there's something like that for mental health, especially in these crazy times that we're living in.
Not that I know of that there's something out there that says, oh, you should go get your head checked
or
your mental health checked.
Well, I guess that maybe in the concept of this podcast and video and everything, maybe we can get some advice from you on what is like a breaking point where you might say, hey, that's a sign, or that you should go speak to someone for your relationship, for yourself, that something's bugging you and maybe you don't feel comfortable speaking to your partner, whatever it is. Is there a number that maybe you feel comfortable saying, or kind of things to look out for? We talk about, again, in physical side, listen to the whispers before they become the yells. Like you have a little achy elbow. How soon should we address that before letting it become an issue? So is there something like that? And is there maybe like, once a year, just to check in and have a couples therapy session, like, you know, it's our whatever 6-month anniversary of our 3rd year. So we're at 3.5 years, whatever it is. And everything seems to be going fine, but there's almost always some kind of issue. I don't know. We're great guys. Don't worry about us.
We've been married 2.5 years, not 3.5.
Oh, I wasn't talking about us. I wasn't talking about us. I don't know what's happening. Why are you, anyway. So is there a number or things to look out for that maybe someone listening to this, even if they're single, that they should go speak to a mental health professional or a relationship expert? Go.
Just do it now. You don't have to wait for a breaking point or the way I see it is it's a personal growth journey that is continuous. I don't see it as a starting and ending point. Obviously, unfortunately, the majority of people do see it as I have a problem, I'm going to go see a therapist, and it's going to be resolved within whatever weeks or months. Sometimes that works, and sometimes that's what you need. My take on it, I'm not saying that's wrong, obviously. My take on it is, the way I like to see it is, I think every person will benefit from it. And not every person may be ready for it. Not every person might benefit from a certain type of therapy or working with a certain type of therapist. They have to find the right approach or the right person for them. I think it's important that they connect with the therapist on a personal level. But I believe that everyone would benefit. And in fact, I believe that I think the world would be a healthier, happier place if everyone went to therapy. Obviously the right type of therapy for them, I'm saying. So I wish that would be the case. I think that would be amazing for the world. But unfortunately, that's not the reality because it's time-consuming, costly, it's still taboo, it's difficult because it's, there's a lot of emotional stuff you're going to be confronting and dealing with. But we all have wounds, is what I'm saying. We all have wounds. We all have baggage.
I have nothing.
We all have fears. But we all have hopes and dreams that maybe the therapist could help us achieve as well. Just raising more awareness about ourselves, I think, would help us live a healthier, happier life and have better relationships in general. So that would be my take. But if people don't want to just do it for their own personal growth, then I would say if you notice that you're experiencing the same type of issue consistently, and it's not getting easier or it's getting harder, then I would seek help, because then it's probably not about the subject that you're arguing about, for example, that it might be something underlying the subject that you're unable to identify or work through yourself. So that would be, I guess, my general advice. So I don't have a time in mind, or,
Yeah, and I kind of asked that a little arbitrarily. Like, I didn't expect you to have, like, every 3.5 months or whatever, anything specific like that. But no, I think your answer was awesome. And that's why I married you. That's it.
Thank you.
No, I'm just kidding. I don't know why I married you. Still,
that's
we're working it out.
It's a mystery aspect.
Just joking, people. We're all good. But I do challenge you all at home, whoever listening, whatever platform you're on, watching or listening. Hopefully, if anything resonated with you there, or it didn't, I would certainly challenge you to either leave a comment or message us, one of us, either one, whatever you feel comfortable, or go and find a therapist right now. But I would push you to go outside that comfort zone if it doesn't feel like it's something comfortable for you. And yeah, that, like, just why haven't I investigated this? If you're single, there's still, reasons to investigate that. So I would challenge, that's my big challenge. I'm not going to edit this. If I was editing this, I'd probably put like a graphic right now. Big challenge.
Big challenge.
Big challenge. Anyway, one day I'll get fancy and start editing this stuff. So, but we also, I'm a big pop culture guy. We watch some shows together. So we've watched some interesting stuff. I wonder if, with COVID and everything too, it seems like I listen to a lot of podcasts also. A big sponsored podcast is now BetterHelp.com. And that's a kind of online virtual mental health coach. I think it's more of a coach than a proper based on licensing and legal stuff. So anyway, I guess my thought is pop culture. We're not like experts. I think Vanity Fair does some of these things.
I'm not even sure what you're talking. Like, I know about BetterHelp, but I don't know how exactly it works.
Oh yeah, no, I'm not. If they want to sponsor, by the way, I'm happy to. They sponsor a lot of these like comics podcasts, because I think people listen to comedy podcasts like Whitney Cummings or even Joe Rogan are probably yeah.
Anyway, yeah, what were you gonna say?
I was gonna say, based on pop culture, what have you seen? And again, we watched this great show on Showtime about, what was it called? The couples therapy one.
Couples therapy.
It was called Couples Therapy. Very clever name.
It's not a real show.
No, yeah, it was as real as I think you're gonna get on TV, which tends to probably be less successful as a show, in my experience. Like Biggest Loser was really powerful and very successful. It was kind of reality, but I think it was very manipulated. Versus, actually, one of my high school football teammates had a very similar show in the physical weight loss space, and it was on AMC or Bravo, one of those channels, and I watched it all. I forgot what channel it's on. But it was like very real weight loss and what the reality of it is, and dealing with the psychological issues, and not just this big show of, you lost 5 pounds, yay! I'm like, and that kind of thing. So there's a big difference between what's good and what's not. She's smiling because I'm drifting all over the place, I think.
Speaking of drift, yes.
Yes. The reason I bring it up is are we at a point where in the pop culture world, are we knocking down the taboos, or do you feel like there's still these taboos about getting mental health help? I think, again, in the physical space, it's much more common to go to a personal trainer if you want to like lose some weight, or get in shape. It's just a very like boom. For mental health, people will suffer for a long period of time, whether that's like the American thing or you know, masculine energy or what have you. So I guess my question is, are there things in pop culture or where do you think it is as a taboo to go get mental health? And I'll also throw in, again, I'm a big movie pop culture nerd. Like back in the 70s, they used to call them analysts. And, you know, it was just commonplace for like Woody Allen. His whole thing was he was neurotic, and you know, he'd be like, oh, I saw my analyst for the third time this week. And psychoanalyst, yes, but that was like the term. Now it's a therapist. So, and again, therapy, from a physical therapy standpoint, I almost have to work away from that word because it implies there's something wrong with you and you need to have it fixed. And so that has this stigma, taboo around it. So I guess on the psych side, thoughts?
Yeah, so I think there still is a stigma around it. I do think it is changing. That it's becoming more acceptable for people to see therapists and to talk about seeing their therapist, and for obviously like TV shows to have therapy. Unfortunately, some TV shows depict the therapist as a nut job, incompetent. So that doesn't help, but it's just part of the comedy, I guess. But it's improving in terms of the taboo and stigma around it, I would say, but it still is like the case of like, I have to be at a certain like breaking point type of thing before I seek help. And obviously it's even worse for sex therapy or couples therapy, because then there's a problem that's even more embarrassing to talk about, right? So it's changing, but I think it's not where I want it to be, at least. Yeah,
and I think that a lot of the media I think we've taken in shows relationship therapy specifically as a last-ditch effort of like, I want to divorce you. Yeah. It's like, well, let's try therapy first. And again, I think in the conversations we've had, it's like, it's probably pretty darn late at that point. Again, it's worth trying. Some will make it, some will not. But
well, it depends on like the attitude coming into therapy, I would say. It's not always too late at that point. But yeah, I think it's more their attitude coming into it. Like, are they really invested in the process? Or are they just doing it to check the box?
Are both partners invested?
Yeah, absolutely.
For sure,
yeah,
right?
That's what I mean. Like, in the process, not necessarily. I mean, again, it's not I'm going to have 3 sessions and get an outcome type of thing. Like, it's a process, and if they're invested in really being vulnerable and honest and going through the journey, then there's a high chance that things would change, right? But if they go into it just going through the motions, ticking that box that I attended therapy this week, you know, we're not magicians, unfortunately, or fortunately. We're facilitators.
Yeah, and I think that, again, the emphasis there also being, for me, or the takeaway or the drive home message is still, don't wait till you get to that point. Just like with injuries, like, don't wait till your shoulder is hurting so much you can't, like, lift your arm up before you say, hey, maybe I should do something about this, and stop just either popping pills or do, you know, kind of putting Band-Aids on it, whatever that is. And also people sometimes, to Maha's point, I think earlier, the same thing on the physical side, saying, oh, I tried physical therapy or I tried couples therapy and it didn't work for us.
Yeah.
That's like saying I went to McDonald's and it wasn't a great experience, therefore I don't like restaurants. Like McDonald's, and I'm using an extreme example, but you know, there's a lot of, I think, relevance there of saying, you know, not all therapists on the physical or mental side are created the same. Not all restaurants are created the same. And we tend to lose sight of that and think that...
And we may have just gone into it to begin with, like, I want to check that box and say that I did therapy, right? But was I really invested in it?
Yeah.
Like, how much did I really want to do that?
Yeah, for sure.
How much did I look for the right therapist?
Yeah, on the physical side, I know that compliance is a huge part of it. And again, sometimes it gets caught up into that symptom management. I don't know if it's the same on the emotional side. I'll let you speak on that of like, are we just going to address that fight, or are we really going to get down to the underlying communication issues?
It depends on the therapist's approach.
Yeah. But would you say if they're addressing that surface level thing and they're able to resolve that issue, that then there still might, I mean, obviously it's case by case, but that maybe for physical therapy, I can strongly say there is a benefit sometimes to addressing, again, you have some shoulder pain, cool, you go see someone, they crack your whatever, and boom, it feels better. You walk out of there, you feel good, or maybe a few sessions, versus saying, hey, that's happening because...
Healing at the, like, root cause, basically.
Sure.
Yeah, absolutely. I would hope, and I would think that the majority of therapists attend to the root cause of the issue and not just treat the symptoms.
I'm listening. For those watching on the video, and sorry, for those listening at home, I did shave my beard. Feels very weird. Anyway, that's a random thought. Anyway, cool.
Yeah.
I think, I don't know, do you have other major thoughts on that kind of topic? I don't like to have episodes that are too long, but...
No, I just want to say that, I mean, therapy is one option, but there are other ways people can invest in their mental health as well, right? So it's not just about going to therapy. Like I said, it's what else are you doing? Because you can go to your weekly sessions, which are great and helpful, but outside of those weekly sessions, what are you doing as well? Like our social life is important for our mental health. Like how much are you engaging in meaningful conversation with your partner if you want to spend more time with them? How much are you like planning new things together if you're bored in your relationship? So like there's a lot of things that you could do outside of the session to, try to work on yourself or the relationship. And like, for example, journaling is something that I would really encourage people to do, because that helps them process their emotions, their thoughts, and self-reflect and gain a deeper understanding of themselves. So just saying that it's not just about therapy. Therapy is one way that you could work on yourself or relationship, and obviously having that person to take you through the process or go through the process with you or facilitate the process for you is helpful. Yeah.
Awesome. Yeah, journaling, one thing that's always stood out to me, there's the gratitude journal. So two things that stood out to me. The gratitude journal is one, and we've played around with that. 5-minute journal specifically is the one we've played with, and it has a very specific format. We might talk about it on another episode or something, because there is a lot of benefit to that, and it's a pretty straightforward format. The other one that stood out to me on journaling that I played around with a little myself is, I think it's called Empty Pages, but basically you just, at the beginning of the day, before you check your phone, and we watched Social Dilemma last night, and even though you'll probably be watching this on some form of social media, worth watching Social Dilemma and making up your mind and having a further discussion on that whole concept. But empty pages, first thing in the morning, just start writing whatever's on your brain, so it gets you kind of in a headspace and gets you maybe to get motivated and clarity of mind kind of thing.
Mindfulness practices.
Yeah, meditation, Jinx. You owe me a Coke. We don't drink Coke, but we snort it. No, we do not. No, we do not. She doesn't. No, nothing. Anyway. Can you see this? Nope, you can if you're listening. All right. Wrapping up. Any other closing thoughts? I think,
No.
Of course, you're wonderful.
Thank you.
And everything you say is gold.
It is.
Yes, dear.
Yes.
That's really the trick.
Exactly.
Happy wife, happy life.
Trained him well.
Yes. Anyway.
No, happy wife, empty bank account apparently.
That's the, yeah.
All right.
We make a great podcast team. We're going to work on this. Dynamic. You guys let us know what you think in the comments, wherever, message us directly. We appreciate it. Thanks for listening, Mom. No, probably not. Let us know what you think. And again, I really challenge you guys to the middle of the episode there, based on what Maha said, why have you not started or ever worked with a mental health expert? Are there limitations? Are there things still blocking you? Worth exploring, not necessarily doesn't mean go to a mental health expert right now, but I think it's worth exploring. I feel the same way for the physical side. If you haven't had someone, talk to you about your aches and pains physically, that's what I'm here for. Reach out, let us know, whatever it is. Hopefully you got something out of this. Get 1% better today, every day. Pick the nose. No, video people are appreciated.
Or get 1% worse, like some people.
You could. That is a possibility. So you try to work to get 1% better every day. But be honest, be open, reflect on that. I think that's really the message behind that phrase, is get 1% better today. Any other?
No, thank you. Good.
We're going to call it there. Bye.